Honest J. Nowak. Oh yeah.
A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Honest J. Nowak. So here on Honest J. Nowak, let's go ahead and talk about erosion. One of the many things that happens to pretty much put out sedimentary rocks for us to study will be weathering or erosion. Now, these kind of processes are known to shape the many lands that Earth happens to have, even the ocean floor. Decades, centuries, or even millennial of different types of weathering and erosion happen to really shape the lands differently, depending on how long time has passed, depending on what kind of climate there is, depending on the kind of terrain that this land is settling on. Now, in terms of how erosion affects our landscape, we've happened to really study upon its effects. It can add up layers of the land itself, or of course, it can wipe clean some layers off of the Earth's surface. But erosion itself is a bit more of a far-fetched study, and I can consider it something more than just an explanation of how our lands have been changing the last several million years. Of course, as time itself went on chronologically throughout the Paleozoic era, Mesozoic era, onwards to the Cenozoic era, we've certainly come across hundreds of different types of landmass changes of all sorts. Aside from the Earth having just one ginormous continent on it known as Pangea, to the fact that, well, it's separated into two, then three, then four, then five, and six, and then finally at seven, leading up until today's time where it's basically just seven continents put onto one planet. Although, we can't really consider every single continent inhabitable at this point. Antarctica doesn't really have a lot going on when it comes to, well, having a potential to be inhabited, but at this point, we could consider erosion or weathering or any other types of landmass changes that can occur naturally by these types of changes that we happen to see upon our planet. But as time goes on, we could probably see a lot more happen. We do happen to have landmass changes move at about 1 to 2 inches every year or so. So, as decades, centuries, millenniums pass by, we certainly got ourselves a potential vision upon us that happens to circle our minds every now and then about what kind of changes we could potentially experience before our very eyes. And before we know it, we probably could just end up with another continent, or we could probably have less continents. But in terms of how weathering and erosion occur naturally, just the same as inflation rates continue to rise up, and just the same as the worldwide population continues to grow with little to no signs of, well, stopping anytime, it's certainly anyone's guess as to what could happen in terms of how landmass changes because of these properties and the fact that anything is possible. So now, I like being a nerd. It's awesome. But if you want to see more, go down to my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.